But the fact of the matter is the world has changed. And it's changed, you could argue, for the better. Because there's so much more convenience. There is disruption. The way that we used to do things, it's not the same anymore. Today, you can use Amazon on a mobile app or on your personal computer and find really anything available that previously you had to get in your car, go to a store, do the shopping, literally watching, seeing what is available, deciding on the spot, and then bringing it back home. Now you can do all of that from your home, from your mobile, on the go. And then equally, instead of buying, I remember 8-track tapes, replaced by cassettes, The good news is vinyl was then, and it seems to still be around now, but CDs, now it's Spotify or another service like that. It could be Apple Music. But the concept now is, rather than buy one thing and enjoy that one thing, you now pay a membership and you can listen to as much music as you'd like to listen to. So both of these were where a smarter idea disrupted an ongoing need. Jeff Bezos said, people always say, hey, what do you think is going to change in the next 10 years? And he said, interestingly, no one asked me the more important question, which is, what's not going to change in the next 10 years? Now that's from one of potentially the wealthiest man in the world. But I think that's very important as we think about our business and our membership. Here we say people are going to shop, people are going to enjoy music, right? But is there a better way? Well, now let's think about the concept of the justice system. Because truth be told, my friends, we've all been raised, either from our families, our communities, even popular television shows, movies, to believe that really lawyers were for those other people, for the wealthy people, for businesses. And why? Because we've been taught all along they're expensive. It's like the most expensive cab ride you can imagine. They're charging by the hour. We think they're not responsive. Like, how do we find one that you can trust, that really would care for you? We're also thought they're not accountable. Whether you succeed in whatever legal issue, they still get paid. Does that make sense? Does that sound familiar? Well, that's what we disrupt. Okay, we say no more. We want equal access to equal justice. Level the playing field for all citizens in the justice system. And whether it's like Spotify and Netflix, whether it's like Uber or it's like Amazon, we have a mobile app that places a law firm in the palm of your hand. Now, that's the most powerful message I can give you, because that is a game changer. People can hear it, but when they see it, and I cannot stress enough, if you are presently a guest here today, I do not take any offense if you pull out your remote control for your life, called the mobile phone, and you go right now to the Apple Store or to the Google Play Store, and you search for LegalShield and download it. I will not be offended. Okay, I will not think that you're on Snapchat or TikTok or WhatsApp or anything else. Okay, I will know what you're doing, because until you see it on your phone, it doesn't really sink in. You can hear me speak about it. You can see a slide, but that is the empowering app. Do you have the legal app? What do you mean? The LegalShield app. Do you have the legal app? They put a law firm in the palm of your hand. It changes your life. With one touch, you get to speak to a lawyer that's going to answer the phone. Okay? You're going to talk to your lawyer, to your law firm. Well, let's talk about it a little bit more. Why do we do this? And we'll talk today as well about ID Shield. A simple fact is that our vision as a company is to provide equal access to the liberty, the opportunity, the equality, and the justice that every human deserves. You see, we live with tremendous opportunity, but only if we fulfill it. We are in a country that is democratic. We are in a country governed by a constitution and law. But you can only live free if, in fact, you have equal access to freedom, equal access to that opportunity. And so that's what we strive to do. It's a vision, my friends. A vision always has to be just out of reach, but not out of sight. That's what makes it a vision. This is what motivates us each and every day, because it's what the country is supposed to be about, and it is, in fact, what we want it to be about. Thank you. So this is a little place in Ada, Oklahoma. Spelled the same way going into the town as it is going out. ADA. And we have that big building because we have a big company. This is a firm that, if you haven't heard about this before, at first you may say, well, wait a minute, maybe they're like these new companies, like a Lyft or, a new company, like a Spotify. But we've been around since 72. I like to call us a 47-year-old startup. Does that make sense? Because if you wonder, well, how does this work? The fact is, it's been working for a long time. Protecting 1.8 million households and businesses across the United States and Canada and the United Kingdom. And over 4.5 million people now receiving this protection. All 50 states and now all of the provinces and territories of Canada. Just opened up on October 10th. Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you something, New York. Here's a challenge for you. British Columbia out-recruited you last month. Okay? You know why? Because they're excited and they believe and they got busy. Ain't no magic. Okay, that's British Columbia. They were already open. But they're out there recruiting. Why? Because they were excited about the new news. You're going to hear tomorrow that we're reopening the United Kingdom to all associates. And so again, for all new associates, if you know somebody, you're going to be able to continue to grow your business. Now here's the question. Because most people can say, even people that you talk to, well, I'm law-abiding. I'm law-abiding. Well, this isn't about being law-abiding. This is about whether you're living life. Because in life, my friends, law happens. It either happens to you or it happens through you with LegalShield. Does that make sense? Because, look, have you ever signed a contract like a lease? Anybody? Ever signed a contract? How about getting an automobile? All right? Ever bought anything? I mean, you sign contracts. The question is, did you have your law firm review it first? Now, you can say, well, man, boy, that sounds like a hassle. That sounds like a hassle. Did I mention the mobile app? I think I talked about that, did I not? Right? Later this month, you'll be able to photograph up to 20 pages of a document and send it to the law firm for review. It's a game changer. It changes life. It changes life. Somebody wants you to sign something in business. Photograph it, get it into your law firm. Have you ever had a landlord-tenant issue? I have. Here's another one. Best thing you can possibly do is when you ever get a rental, okay, a lease for an apartment, have the law firm look at it. They may say it looks great, but you know what they will do if you ask them? They'll send a letter to the landlord saying, we reviewed this on behalf of our client and it looks fine. You know what that does? That sends a message. That sends a message. Now, this is the second biggest usage today because we got a lot of members that didn't do that going in. And so now they call us and they say, hey, my landlord is bullying me, wants me to pay money for something that I don't think I have to do. Or they're keeping my security deposit when I'm trying to leave. I've got a lease and I'm going to go. They want me to pay for the 5 months that's left. By the way, illegal. You can sign a year lease, but if you leave after 6 months, you don't own 6 months. Again, ignorance is not acceptable. It's not an excuse if you've broken the law. And my friends, it's not an excuse for all of you. The only way that you learn about the law is you got to engage with the law. You got to talk to your law firm through the mobile app. That's the way you learn about things. I mean, I didn't know all this until I got involved with LegalShield 5 years ago. I'm 57 years old. I keep learning about the law. Why? Because I'm living. I'm living life. And I use it all the time. You can see this. Ever been overcharged, treated unfairly? Of course you have. You've had a bad experience. You've got a bad product, a bad service. Most of the time we just say, well, I'm angry, but what do I do? Go find a lawyer for $200, $300, $400 an hour to fight it? Not if it was 50 or 60 or 70 bucks. We're all good enough at math to do that, right? That equation. If you ever got a speeding ticket, 42 million speeding tickets last year in the United States of America alone. 42 million. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands how many you had, but I'm just telling you. People have the HRF disease, heavy right foot. And I'm telling you another thing. You get a ticket, you're guilty. Okay, you know it, I know it. But the thing is, you feel ashamed. And what do? You ignore it, and then finally, When the deadline comes, you pay the fine because you look at it, it's a $100 fine. It's a $150 fine. You're like, well, that's less than getting a lawyer. But is it? Because once you pay that fine, your points go onto your license, and now your insurance rates go up, and you keep paying, sometimes for 3, 5, 7 years. You see, rich people, they don't have points on their license because they have lawyers defend them against any speeding ticket. Does that make sense? But the thing is the color of justice can't be green. It can't be the color of money. It's got to be equal for everybody. And again, through that mobile app, you can photograph that speeding ticket right there. You feel ashamed. You certainly are thinking, oh, I'm not going to tell my partner about this. But you know what? While you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, just photograph the darn thing. Push the button, send it to the law firm. At least you get a happy call back, and they say, well, you know what? We're going to help you on this. Right? You start to take ownership of it. I'm not suggesting anything about anybody's speed, but obviously 42 million people did last year. Okay? We're not telling, go speed, we'll take care of it. It still might cost you money, but we want to get those points off. We want to get it reduced. Did you know that if you go 25 miles an hour over the speed limit in Virginia, it's a felony? Do you know how I learned that? My oldest son did it. You thought I was going to say I did it. My oldest son did it. I'm actually very proud. I haven't had a speeding ticket for more than 4 years. Yeah. I used to get them when I was flying to Dallas and drive to 8. And then I changed my flight to Oklahoma City. Much better. Much better. I found a road that has 2 stop signs and no police for the entire drive from the airport. By a show of hands, does anybody think that their identity is private and sacred right now? It's out. Okay. It's out. Right? I mean, I don't want to freak you out, but I mean, does anybody use Facebook? Yeah. So, you never get logged out. I mean, they ain't logging you out. Okay? If you log out, that's one thing. But they ain't ever logging you out. You know why? They know you are in this room right now. And by the way, I'm not joking. I mean, like, literally, they know you are in this room right now. Now, they may not know why you're here, although if they wanted to, they could. Okay? Because they've got cameras all over the place, tapped in. They know what's going on. They look at what people are posting, right? So privacy matters. I will tell you that ID Shield, it started as identity protection against the theft of identity. The bigger idea is about privacy management. And that's what you should, if you aren't talking about privacy management, I just will tell you that we're going to continue to advocate and help train you to talk to more and more citizens to become members of ID Shield because they don't know that whatever they browse and search for in Google is being immediately sold so that wherever else they go, they receive an advertisement on that thing. I mean, I look for a pair of running shoes on Google, on my phone. I sat down and in Facebook, tennis shoes ads. I'm like, and then at first you're like, well, thank you. I was interested in tennis shoes. It's a little creepy because you don't know what you don't know. They're selling everything. We've got to get control of our identities. You know what happens sometimes then? Your reputation, your good name gets sullied. 50% of all people in the United States of America have said 15% that they have either had an education opportunity or an employment opportunity precluded because of content that was available online. 15% and growing, up from 11% in 2014. Again, bad things happen to good people, and sometimes good people do bad things. But one photograph, one video, one comment shouldn't be held against you for the rest of your life. Am I right or am I right? Can I get a yes or a yes? Yes. All right. You can see the other. Here's one for you. It is your right to have a last will and testament. If you do not have a last will and testament, along with durable power of attorney for health care, financial matters, a medical directive, you're not living free. When you pass, not only will people grieve you, but the state will decide everything that has to do with your state. And you may say, hey, I'm a young person. It doesn't matter. No, it does matter. Okay, it does matter. It matters. I'll give you another one, young people. You need to, if you go to college, as an example, you go away. If you're over 18, if you haven't identified the people you love and trust, could be your parents, could be a family member, to make decisions, God forbid, what if you had an automobile accident and you're unconscious? If you don't have a medical directive, the hospital and the state decide your care. Most mothers don't know this. It's one of the major elements of ladies of justice. You've got to know that when you send your children away to school, they've got to have a medical directive if they're 18 or older, or you don't have any say. God forbid, what if they got spinal meningitis or mononucleosis and they're unconscious? You don't get to say how they should be cared for. That's unconscionable. Again, ignorance is not something we want. It's something we fight against. We can't live free if we don't know how to live free. LegalShield has the answer. I talked about a number of these things. I'm telling you, when you look at it, one button, call my law firm, and you're able to get legal advice on unlimited issues. This is really important. This is where it's like Spotify. You don't get just some music, you get all the music. Okay, you get unlimited consultations. Letters, I mentioned, calls made on your behalf. Contract reviews, I talked about. Here in New York, 2 additional services at $49 an hour. By the way, when have you ever heard $49 an hour from a lawyer before? But what if you get a letter from the IRS? You need to be able to get consultation and support. The same thing if somebody sues you. Love your neighbor, sometimes they ain't loving you back. Okay? I mean, your tree's on my property, or whatever the case may be. There's a trial defense area. And here's the other one. 24/7, 365. If you are in the presence of law enforcement, you've been pulled over, you've been stopped, someone's come to your house. If you ever feel that your rights or your liberties are being infringed upon by an executive branch authority, push the red button. Push the red button 24 hours a day. We answer that phone in less than 10 seconds. And we're going to get a lawyer on the phone in less than 15 minutes. I was just with the Melias in Salt Lake City. Incredible event. How many people went? How incredible was that event? We're going to talk about later today, coming up, getting ready for Dallas, our international convention in 2020. But I'm going to say something. Thank you. The Melias were talking about a brand new member who, I can't remember what city were they in. I think they're in New Orleans. And maybe it was Chicago. I take that back. I think it was in Chicago. And they had just visited Wrigley Field. It was Chicago. And they had gone into a famous bar. I'm not a Cubby fan, so I don't know what one it was. It was right by the stadium. And they actually just got a water to go. It had a lid on it. Walked out of the bar. And a police officer stopped and said, I'm going to cite you for, an open carry. You've got an alcoholic beverage that you've taken out of that bar. He said, no, I don't. By the way, I think he had like a University of Florida or like I Love Florida shirt on, right? And he said, no, this is water. I can show it to you. No, I'm not allowed to evaluate. I've already made the decision. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to evaluate it. I'm going to give you a citation. No disrespect, because I love law enforcement. Probably thought, hey, tourist, doesn't want the hassle, will pay the fine, good for the city. It's just like a tourist tax. We're just going to give him another thing to do, right? Pulled out his app because he remembered. He'd just gone through it. Push that red button. Push that red button. Got a lawyer on within minutes. And the lawyer said, put me on speaker.
That's right.
Spoke directly to the law officer, said, am I understanding you correctly? My client has a glass of water, is willing to show you that it's a glass of water, and you are insisting that you're going to give a ticket for having an alcoholic open carry. And said, well, forget about it. Forget about it. You understand what I'm talking about? When we talk about leveling the playing field, look, we can't live in fear. We've got to live free. Now, submit a traffic ticket. You push the button, there goes the ticket, right to it. Within 4 hours, you're going to hear back. 4 business hours, you're going to hear back on a traffic ticket. We continue on. Start a legal document. This is what's important. Look, I don't want to be cavalier about doing a will. Nobody wants to think about death. I acknowledge that. But does anyone ever wait in line for anything? Okay? Pull out the app and start your will, for God's sakes. Okay? I mean, it's something to pass the time. And by the way, I said, I mixed up. Guess what? Automatically saves whatever you've done. Okay, so it's an auto save. So then you can come back and finish it again. All right? DMV, TSA, You'll be the only person waiting in line at the airport with a smile on your face. You're doing something good for yourself. You see what I'm saying? Hey, millennials, highest percent of prenuptial agreements is with the millennial generation. They're getting married a little later. They're getting prenups done because they've already established some of their life. Guess what you can do on this app? A prenuptial agreement. You begin through the questionnaire to get prenups. All young people should do that. Why? Because you've already got a life started for yourself. right? You walk into it again, living free, even in a union. Does that make sense? By the way, there also is the chance to start divorce proceedings as well as bankruptcy. But we don't like to focus on the negative. But again, LegalShield's with you all the way in and all the way out. I'm saying. All of these things come with the estate. All of these things come. It's not just your will, it's all the documentation you need for what is really an estate plan. And everybody needs an estate plan. Now, you may say, hey, I just had an auto accident, or I just had an issue, a neighbor just sued me. It's pre-existing right now. What about me? The answer is there's good news. We say it's a 25% discount. Don't take 25%. Go to LegalShield.com, look up New York, look up the area of law, and it will tell you exactly what the hourly rate is. Because not all law is the same hourly rate. Okay? Does that make sense? Woman came up to me in Florida and said, I'm having a very difficult time with my soon-to-be ex. He's paying a horse's arse and his child payments and all kinds. But are you telling me that I'm paying $375 an hour to a lawyer right now? Are you telling me that I could join LegalShield and I could save money and that they would help me? I said, yes, ma'am. You will pay less than $375, and they will. Because here's the point. Our lawyers don't get paid by the hour. We have salaried lawyers. This is a huge change. The lawyers that you're working with are salaried. They're focusing on serving the member and being efficient. They have no incentive to take longer. They want to be efficient and effective for you. Take less time to do things properly for you. Does that make sense? And so I got a letter from her. She said, you know what? Not only did I pay $210 an hour saving money, the entire thing was finished in 2 weeks. God bless you. It's painful, but it's okay. The other thing to remember, a woman came up to me once and said, thank you so much. LegalShield changed my life. I used the membership. It also gave me the courage that when I was injured to go and find a lawyer to represent me in a personal injury. I'm like, go and find one? Why didn't you use your LegalShield law firm? And she said, they do that? Yeah, they do that. Okay? So God forbid you're injured on work or just in life. They will take it on a contingency basis. They'll whatever you collect, that's how they get paid. And it is at a lower rate than you'll find on any other law firms. Who's covered? The member, the partner, spouse or partner. You can see never married, dependent children, under the age of 21 living at home, or full-time students up to the age of 23. Dependent children under 18 for whom the member is a guardian. I call that the Brady Bunch clause, when families come together. And then the last one is physically or mentally disabled children that live at home for their entire life. This is the stupid question of the day. What would you choose? $250+ an hour? Or would you, in fact, choose, I went too fast, sorry, or $24 a month for everything that I just talked about? So now we know about identity theft. Again, our own government has had breaches, the Office of Management and Budget. We know, Target, Sony, it goes on and on. Yahoo, Primera, huge, healthcare. It's just, our data's out there, right? Well, you gotta be responsible. Here's the problem. You don't want to wait until something bad happens. Because that's a real problem. It takes a lot of time. It's nerve-wracking. You got other things to do. Because what they want to do is take your identity and then they want to file a false tax return. They want to make a medical claim on your private insurance or on Medicaid, Medicare. They don't necessarily want your money. I'm sure they'd take it, but these criminals want to use your identity to take other people's money. They're going to do Social Security claims. They're going to use your driver's license and get a job. Right? They may not have the ability to get employment because they might not have legal alien. They may be here without citizenship status. Criminal character issues. They could do things that then cause harm to you. We had an instance where someone's identity, a member identity was stolen, took out an apartment lease. When they were finally evicted after not paying for 7 months, assaulted a police officer, went to jail, was released within 24 hours, and then a warrant was issued for our member. Now, we immediately got LegalShield and ID Shield involved. They were exonerated of the whole thing, but things like that happen. You don't need that in your life. You need somebody to help you. And a licensed private investigator is the one to do so. And even credit. Somebody takes out a boat loan, gets in the boat, sails away, and leaves you with it. Right? I'm late on what? I don't have a loan. Right? You don't want to get that kind of letter. So, ID Shield not only gives you credit reports, but also is going to be monitoring all the data that you enter. It's very vast. Everything that you see here. Social Security, passport, driver's license, medical ID, old email addresses, your present email addresses, old phone numbers, new phone numbers, loans, credit cards, bank accounts, dark web, and social media. And oh, by the way, in 2020, we'll be adding financial products like 401k accounts, and we'll also put in something called threshold monitoring. Thank you. Threshold says that on your credit card or on your bank account, if a transaction goes over X, you decide, $100, $250, $500, you get an alert through the mobile app. Is this you? Did you do this? Does that make sense? More protection, always included. We have a $25,000 protection policy, but we will do whatever it takes to restore your identity. But if you had any loss of money, someone might steal your identity and get into your bank account. You immediately are protected up to $25,000. We also have the ability that you could upgrade, if you wish to go to $1 million. For those of you that have $1 million in assets that could be stolen. And you can also get free credit bureau monitoring for an additional fee that's added to your monthly membership. So who's covered again? There is an individual plan. It's just for one person, for an individual. But the family, it's the member, again, the partner, and up to 10 dependents up to the age of 18. You may say, well, why 18? Because at that point, society views them as a legal adult, and they need to get their own plan. All three of my sons, over 18, they have their own individual plan. Except for Josh, who's getting married, and so he's already got the family plan. He's going to add his new bride over in the UK. That's where he lives. Yeah. Good to see you. LegalShield and ID Shield. Together, when you look at it, you've got a family, one bureau plan, $48.95. Individual, one bureau plan, $33.95 for the individual. For three bureau, this is both legal and ID Shield. Three bureau is $53.95. Three bureau for the individual is $38.95 here in the great state of New York. Thank you. Now, how many people buy coffee once in a while? Maybe every day. Maybe, does it cost $1? No. Probably more than that. In all fairness, I think that it is honest, especially if you're a Starbucker, okay? This is less than a Starbuck a day. Now, I know you say, I can't live without my Starbucks. I agree. But you can't live without LegalShield and ID Shield. You just can't do it. All right? Does that make sense? We also like to talk about member perks. We used to have a bunch of logos up here. Now we've got piggy banks and other things. You'll have to give me feedback on whether you like the logos of this. But when you've got so many people want to sell stuff to that so many people with discounts. And this is really very practical for some people. It saves them money on their cable, on their mobile phone. It saves them on their home insurance, their auto insurance. It saves so much money that, quite frankly, it makes the membership free. If you go to sporting events, if you go to movies, things that are more, let's say voluntary, you don't have to do them. You purchase clothing. You, again, should always check here. When you look at going to our major events, when you go to Salt Lake City recently, or now we're going to be going to Dallas in the spring, April 2nd through 5th, then you should always check and see, is there a cheaper and better way to rent a car, to make a flight, to book a hotel, to be able to save yourself money? Does that make sense? Yeah. And for your own family, on vacations, etc. Okay. The market is ready. I mean, I think it's intuitive to everybody that's hearing me talk about this, but 93% of the people in the United States of America said that they believe lawyers charge too much. 90%, over 90, say they do not have any form of legal protection today, a lawyer or legal insurance. And 9 out of 10 said that if costs were more affordable, then they would in fact seek advice and counsel from a lawyer. So people are reasonable. They just need to be exposed to the fact that they can change their lives with LegalShield and ID Shield. And 60% said that they would purchase legal protection once we explain to them what this product is. So more than 6 out of every 10 people you meet. By the way, I'm proud of how big we are, but literally you could walk outside and the next 100 folks you meet probably don't know LegalShield. That's how big the opportunity is. And 60 out of 100, if you actually shared with them the good news, they're going to join. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right. So now I'd like to change and talk a little bit about how we make money. Now, sometimes people, it's interesting. It's changing. But, people will be like, well, why haven't I seen LegalShield on television commercials? or on the subway? Why don't I see it on billboards? Why isn't it on the radio? And the answer is, we believe in word-of-mouth marketing. We believe in social selling. We believe that our independent entrepreneurs should take all the money that we would put on television, we put into the pockets of our individual entrepreneurs. That's what we do. Because this is still a concept that has to be explained. All due respect, it's not being bought, it is being explained. It's opening people's minds to a new way to live life and to protect and empower themselves and the people that they love. And so when you look at it, explaining that, introducing, sharing information, when that person is protected and empowered as a member, then an individual entrepreneur is going to get paid. That's one way we get paid. The second is, some people are going to come up to you and say, talk to me about that LegalShield thing again. I got the membership, I'm liking it, but you're actually in business with that, are you not? It's a side hustle maybe that you're doing, right? It's something additional that you're doing. Yes, it is. That's called being chased, because smart people figure out that when a service is real, well, then they can feel good about it and starting their own business. Now, when they join your team, much like an insurance agency, every time they protect somebody, you get what's called an override. So you get paid as well when they protect and empower people. So individually, and we have associates that love to sell personally, and they enjoy the money that they earn. We have other people that like to build big teams, and they sell, but their team sells, and that's where big leverage occurs in the business. Because the larger your team, the more people they're protecting and empowering, the larger the business that you're building. We also have something that's really important, and this is a very big distinction between what we do and then what maybe other businesses that you've considered in the past do. We pay you for as long as people keep the membership. Thank you. That's called residual income. And I'll tell you, this is really the most powerful thing. Because we've been around 47 years, over 40,000 North American citizens now receive residual income every single month because of memberships that they have formed, even if they've stopped working in the business. We also have bonuses and incentives, because I was very kind in the introduction. I like to have fun. I do like to have fun. So we tend to take a trip in the winter and come together as a family. You have to earn that trip, right? But we like that because a little competition breeds what? Excellence, right? A little bit of fun. We like to go away in the summer. We just went to Cabo San Lucas, and we just announced that we're going to the Mayan Riviera next summer, a trip that you can earn. We like to have competitions that say, hey, you could choose the couch or you could choose activity, and if you choose activity, we'd like to give you a little bonus when you succeed. Does that make sense? So 4 ways for people to get paid in this business. Now this is another thing that's important. I'll touch upon it as well a little later. In life, when you generally get a job, you don't get to choose when you get promoted. Somebody else does. But at LegalShield, everyone starts at the same place. But you choose how far you wish to rise. It has everything to do with how much effort you put into the business. You plug into the system of success. The more effort you put into it, the more success you'll have. And you get to decide when you'll be promoted to senior associate. And you get to decide when you are promoted to manager or senior manager and director. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is when you protect and empower a member with ID Shield and LegalShield, on your first day, you get paid $66. But when you decide you're getting promoted, why do people like to get promoted? Because they make more money. Am I right or am I right? So when you get promoted to senior associate, you now make $132 every time you protect and empower somebody. And then at manager, $154, $176, $209, $253, and finally $308 every time you protect and empower somebody when you reach the rank of executive director. That's some real money. And you might say, but Jeff, you just said, it might be $53.95. How in God's name could you pay me $308? That's known as an advance commission. We're paying you a full year of sales commission on the first day you enroll a new member. That's how much we believe in you. That's how much we believe in you. It also gets back to one of our core commitments. Retain your members. Mr. Nick Server likes to say, we just paid you for 12 months. You only did the work really for 1. What are you going to do over the next 11 months to serve your member? Make sure they get the app downloaded. Make sure they get the will done. Follow up with them. Touch base with them. Make sure that they're using the membership. That's how they're going to keep it. The number one reason people cancel the membership is they don't use it. Number one reason. Got to retain your members. Now, I talked about the overrides. You become an associate. You get paid $66. You get promoted to senior associate. When someone that you bring in at the associate level to join your team, every single time they protect and empower somebody with LegalShield and ID Shield, you're getting $22. Every single time. The more associates you bring in, the more money you make. You bring in more associates, you get promoted to manager. Your brand new associate gets $66, you get $22 plus $22, you get $44. Do you see how the numbers compound? The entire commission structure is on this slide. This is all you need to know. You can calculate anything right here and forecast and prepare for building your business. If you are an executive director, you get paid $198 every time a new associate that you've recruited directly to you protects and empowers somebody. This is real money. I want to make sure that you understand. Last year, we sent $108 million in commissions out to our sales force. Not on TV advertising, to the sales force, 108. This year, it's going to be well over $120 million. We've done over $10 million in the last decade. $100 million in the last decade. So this is real money, folks, that's going out to everyone. Now, example. What if you were to build a team of 30 associates that are active in the business? It matters, okay? You want to make sure they're active. Why? Because you're the team leader. This is your team. If they each protected and empowered 5 members in a month, your override is $55 on average, because many of them could be at different levels. My friends, that's $8,250 a year. That's good. I'm not that good at math, but I think that's like $96,000. Am I wrong or right? No, but every month it's $82.95, but in a year times 12, I think that's $96,000. Is it not? The average salary in the United States of America for a household is $55,000. This is real. Even if you do it part-time as a side hustle, this money is real. And you're doing something that you can feel good about. You're protecting and empowering people. That's leveraged income. You may hear that. That's leveraged income, because it's not just what you do, it's what the people that you've introduced to your team and lead on your team do. So, for each and every new member, you or a member of your team signs up, you get paid a % of the membership every month they make a payment. That's the residual income. It goes on forever and forever and ever as long as there is a membership active. We have members that have been on the books since 1977, as an example, right? Harlan Stonecipher may have made that sale. I don't know. But that's the power of residual income. Residual income really matters. You're building a book of business. This is the other thing. A lot of people talk about the team building. I love team building. But what matters is your book of business are with your members. Dave Sabula had 350,000 members as part of his organization. That's how he made $2.5 million a year. It wasn't because of the size of his team, it's the size of the membership that is paying every month into their membership. Does that make sense? No different than an insurance person. Insurance person, if people stop paying their homeowners insurance, they stop getting paid. Right? Same exact thing. You got to have a mindset as a business person. Those are your members. You've got to protect and empower them. We talk about having fun. Obviously, that woman was eating a hoagie or something. I'm not sure what that was. But she was having fun doing it. I could tell. I don't know if I could feel the joy. I could feel it. I told you we take 2 trips. And here's the other thing. We love consistency. So much so that we created something called the Performance Club. And if you're able to be consistent every month in the business, not only do you receive commissions, but we pay you cash bonuses of up to $500 every single month that you're in Performance Club. Does that make sense? So again, you can start to really see this business and how you build it. And you build it by having a lot of people consistent in the business. You want to get people Performance Club qualified. They get more money and you get more money. Now, starting a business isn't free. And quite frankly, people only value what they pay for. And you might look at this and say, man, there's a lot of dollars being thrown around here. How much does it cost to get in? Especially if you've ever had experience with other businesses where it could have been extremely expensive to invest money you didn't have. But for us, it's a one-time fee of $99 to get started in the business. That's it. You own your book of business. You can pass it on to future generations. The residual income is unique in business, and we give you the training and the support that you need. In fact, and I think this is important, if you were going to start a business today, you'd probably want a website where you'd have a shopping cart people could check out. That's like GoDaddy. It's like $17 a month to do that. You know, when you look at a CRM tool where you need to share information with people, like Salesforce, it's relatively famous. It's $60 a month to be able to have a mobile app to share information and track whether or not they're reading it and enjoying it. QuickBooks from Intuit, that Pro Series is $75 because you need the ability to see who are your members, who are your team members, how much money are you making, how much money are they making, communicating and motivating them. That's $75 a month. And Vimeo, what if you wanted to do, instead of having all physical meetings, which I strongly encourage the humanity of physical meetings like this one, but sometimes it's really nice to be able to do a call where everybody's on and you can see them, but it's across the United States. How are you going to build a team outside of New York? You may need to use technology like a Vimeo. That's $50 a month. All told, that's a lot of money. But for us, we give you all of those things for $19.95 a month. So run your business. LS Engage. Prospect by LegalShield. This is a website, CRM tools, video hosting. We give you Zoom. We do Zooms all the time for you to be able, and you can do them too as part of your ongoing running of the business. So, you also qualify with LegalShield Advantage for all of those trips and incentives that I talked about a moment ago. Now, we have a proven track record. When you look at it, the one thing I love about LegalShield, number one is that it's mission-based. But number two is that this is the kind of United States of America I want to see. I want to see diversity, where everybody loves everybody and everybody helps everybody else to try and have a better life. Does that make sense? So whether it's somebody like Mr. Mike Humes, who was in the Postal Service and went from being a mailman to a millionaire, you know, when you see Aisha Mayoud, a college student, comes right into the business and is very passionate about ladies of justice. Aaron Browning was in real estate, our most recent $50,000 ring earner in less than 4 months. Darnell Self, Tracy Self, he was working, managed a retail store in the mall that we don't go to anymore because of Amazon. Good for him. He got into LegalShield. He's working, by the way, he's working on his second $1 million ring right now. Okay? We're going to have to get a whole new ring for him. You see Brian and Melissa Carruthers, Liz and David Lecou, Nick Odom, Bert and Fatima Salam. He was a civil engineer and she was in teaching. Every walk of life, every background, every race, every creed, every religion is represented in LegalShield. And that's what I love about it. My friends, just look around in this room. There aren't that many things that have the kind of diversity that we represent. We love that. That's what I love about this company. So, we have $250,000 ring earners right now, 400 six-figure ring earners, 250 Millionaire Club members, and over $1 billion have been paid in the last 10 years. I got that number wrong. I know I was wrong. I don't know. I ate a bagel before I came here with some tofu instead of cream cheese spread. Maybe it's weighing on me. Slowing me down. What do we want you to do? Look, anyone who's a guest, if you're not a member, for goodness sakes, I implore you, become a member. It will change your life. You got to download that app. You got to get the app. You will live differently and you'll be happy. You will never turn back once you get that app and you start using it in your everyday life. You'll never turn back. We would love, if you're ready to try a new way of making money, I tell you, don't quit your day job. Okay, Jim Rohn says you work 9 to 5 to just, make it, right? But you work your private after hours to build your financial freedom. That's what this is about. This is building a business on your terms. Over 90% of our associates are, in fact, part-time. They do this because they love it and they make a little extra money. If you make $500 a month, my friends, that makes a difference. Again, that's $6,000 in a year. I just said most households only get $50,000, $55,000 in the whole year. You just increase the household's wealth by more than 10%. That's real money. Again, you can shoot for the stars, but make sure that you're also really hearing people on what they need. They may want to just be able to set aside more savings for their family, or to take a vacation, or to get into a bigger apartment, or into a home. Again, make sure that you listen to what people really want when they want to become an associate. Getting trained. We've got brand new Fast Start training, and that means it gets you started fast. This is not a business where you are left on your own. Number one, the people in this room want everyone to succeed. Everybody. There's no winners and losers. There's just how can we help each other. Second, we give a lot of training in classes and online to help you understand about the product, about the service, about how to run your business. And if especially you get started as an associate, there is nothing more important to us than getting you paid and promoted. You will see your $99 return. In fact, if you really get serious about the business and you run hard, you'll get all of your money back probably before a check would clear. I mean, it's a powerful business. Everybody knows somebody that needs this service. And almost everybody knows somebody who's sick and tired of being sick and tired and would like to make a little more money. This is an open house. Some people call it a business briefing, but it's really, I will tell you that there's been a very strong movement to just make sure that we have a very welcoming, not a pressured environment, but a fun environment. We talk about open houses, social gatherings. People call them socials. I attended a wonderful meeting in the great state of Washington with Brenda Wall, and she just called it a social event. LegalShield's holding a social. And, people are doing them in speakeasies or in the back of restaurants, and, it's okay. You got to meet people. Look, if somebody's coming from after work, they might be a little tired and want to relax. Okay, we don't want it to be frenzy. So make sure that when you start to build your business, take people to these open houses, these events, whatever you want to call them. Invite them over to your house. Hold a meeting in your own home. Meetings make money when people that you invite become members. That's the key thing. That's the key thing. You've got to get them to the meetings like this one and the weekly briefing. I think that was the last slide. So I think, my friends, I am done. I think I did that.